If you haven't been living under a rock for the last 24 hours, the biggest Bleach episode of Thousand Year Blood War arc dropped, and I can't even describe the words to convey what I'm feeling right now, okay? Because when I first watched that episode, it recaptured that amazing feeling that I had as a kid growing up in elementary school, watching Bleach on Adult Swim, and it made me just absolutely hyped for the next episode. Because in this episode, all right, episode 45 of Thousand Year Blood War arc, we see an ending as well as brand new scenes that were never in the manga, just completely added in there by Kubo, by the studio. These were ideas that he had, that he put out there, and it absolutely caught the entire community by storm. I've seen comments, somebody saying, anime watchers tell manga readers, hey, don't spoil this for us. And manga readers like myself are like, we have no idea what's going on. Because all of this is brand new. Like, it's just came out of left field. Like, I did not see this coming. I saw a few images with like Orihime, Rukia being there, but I was thankfully, avoided spoilers for this episode, and thank God I did, because this episode, it has almost everything. Even its comedic moments that we do get aren't undercutting the seriousness of this episode. And honestly, I feel like I was watching an episode of JJK. Just the amount of gore, just bloodshed. I don't know whether Kubo has been hanging out with Gege for reasons I probably can guess why, but this episode, actually no, Bleach inspired JJK, so maybe this all comes full circle. But no, this episode just captured that feeling. And I had a whole plan what I want to talk about this week. There's huge One Piece news that dropped. But no, this episode deserves a full breakdown video here on the channel because Orihime, yes, A-U-R-A, Hime. This girl is the star of this show. We have many moments with Rukia. Ichigo had to blaze a new Bankai that was never seen before, but it's still her episode. It's still her show. And that's what I want to talk about today, all right? This episode, all right? Because this episode absolutely did years, and I mean like a decade plus of Orihime slander, or Orihime slander, all right? In this video, I will be calling her Orihime because she has earned that title. So yeah, I want to talk about all that with you here today. If you're a fan of the video, please, for me, I'd appreciate it if you'd smash that like, comment, and subscribe button. Also, hit that notification bell. Really appreciate it. That's how you get notified about new videos. Please comment and like below. Let me know what you think of Orihime, all right? And just everything that you've seen in this episode. Has it changed your perspective on her? Do you hate her? Any less? Do you love her more? I was always lukewarm towards her. I figured she's there. She was never the main female character. That was Rukia for me. But no, this is her episode, all right? And by the way, I gotta say something else before I begin. Naruto fans, y'all are being humbled real quiet because with all the One Piece news that just dropped today and Bleach like yesterday, y'all real quiet. It's real bone dry out there in the Naruto fandom right now, okay? I know Two Blue Vortex manga is actually pretty dope, but no, this is just, yeah, no, Naruto fans, man, y'all really going through it right now. You're really in a draw, all right? But now, let's get into it, all right? Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, Core 4, Episode 45. The title of the episode, I have it right here. I have a bunch of notes, so just get ready because there's a whole bunch of things, all right? Defend you. But then at the ending of the episode reveals life to defend you, okay? And there's a reason for this, and it involves flowers, so we're going the Demon Slayer route with this, so get ready. All right, so the episode starts off with Chad and Ganju, who are just there fighting the statues near Yuha's throne room. And they can't kill them because they're being powered up by the Soul King's Ryatsu. Then, on cue, here comes Rukia and Renji. If you've seen the opening, you know Rukia and Renji and Ichigo are all in the throne room together. Now, I figured that what was going to happen. We would see all four of them fight against Yuha in this really cool, epic moment. And it just would have been amazing to see. But no, we just see Renji tell Rukia, go ahead, I got this. Renji, you deserve this, all right? You've awakened your true Bankai. Spoilers, but he's going to get to marry the girl of his dreams, Rukia, at the end of this core, so kudos for him. He's winning. And then he just launches his Zanpakuto, and it was a really cool combo attack where Rukia takes his, Zabimaru, chain sword weapon and runs across like a highway, and she just gets past all the statues, all right? And then, we just see Renji saying, yeah, I got this. Then we shift over to Uryu and Hashfeld. Now, this fight comes back and forth a few more times throughout this episode, and I'm going to reiterate this. I'm going to say this again. But up until this episode, this was the biggest change. Uryu and Hashfeld's fight. Because Uryu and Hashfeld's fight in the manga, I'm just going to be straight up with you, fam. It was just trash. It was ass. I love you, Kubo. I love Bleach, but that fight was not good. It just basically became a ping pong of Uno Reverse meets Mirror Force. And I'm not taking that as a joke, but literally, Uryu's power, the antithesis, basically flips what's happened between two designated targets. Meaning if Hashfeld stabs him in the arm, Uryu can take that wound and flip it on Hashfeld. Hashfeld's Shrift, be the balance, basically redirects good fortune and misfortune. So it was misfortune that Uryu was able to injure him, so he redirects that into good fortune, and so the attack goes back on Uryu. The whole fight was just that. Them ping-ponging back on each other. It's like, I reject you. No, I reject you. And it didn't do much for me. I'm like, okay, Hashfeld has a line where he says, I can see why now His Majesty likes you, Uryu Yoshida. It's a good thing I'm here. Your powers might be the only thing that could defeat the Almighty. But no, that's not what happens here. This is basically Hashfeld and Uryu in a completely new situation. They're fighting, and Hashfeld is now drawing on the powers of Yuha since he is, the other half of the Quincy King, and he's imbued by the powers of the Soul King. And now here's the problem. Uryu realizes, okay, I am not beating him in a straight-up fight. There's no way in hell I have a chance. So Uryu is basically figuring out, okay, there is a weakness. There has to be a chink in his armor. He doesn't have access to the full powers of the Almighty. And Uryu is basically figuring out, is there a cooldown in Hashfeld's future vision with the Almighty? Is there a cooldown? And he's counting how many seconds, because he's trying to figure out, okay, there has to be a weak point I can exploit. And he does near the end of this episode. And it's beautiful. I cannot stress this enough. Uryu, as a character in the manga, barely in it, and his fight scenes are just lackluster. Here, in the anime, absolute peak. I have zero qualms with how they handle this. Then we go over to the main feast of this episode, the Ichigo, Orihime, and eventually Rukia versus Yuha, all right? And Ichigo is just, charging at Yuha with everything that he has, all right? He's using his Horn of Salvation or Half Hollow Ichigo, whatever you want to call it. I'm still calling it Horn of Salvation. We called that that name for a decade, so I'm keeping it. Then we see Ichigo charging at him. He keeps firing off Grand Ray Sero Getsuga Tenshos. It's doing nothing. Then, Yuha just basically tanks it. I'm looking at my notes right here because there's a lot of information that I have to remember. But we just see this fight play out like this, and it is just a brutal beatdown of the highest order. Like, it's just, he doesn't have a chance. Like, it's very clearly, Ichigo doesn't have a prayer in hell of winning this fight. And it's like, he's going to get packed up. And Ichigo's going through this battle, right? He's going against Yuha, the Quincy King, all right? And it's just clear, he can't be killed. And now Yuha goes on a villain monologue where he basically tells Ichigo, your desire to protect people, it gave you strength, but that strength you have is weak. It's very altruistic. It's very, you didn't do it for your own sake or your own ambition. You did it for the people around you. And Yuha is belittling his strength. Again, villain monologue, we see this all the time in Bleach. Not a lot, but we do. But we see this. And now Orihime is basically watching the battle unfold. Now here's the thing with Orihime. Again, she has almost no major milestones in the entire story outside of the Numb Chandelier fight, Hala fight, way back in chapter 41 in volume 5 of Bleach. I'm not making that up, people. That was that was chapter 41 in volume 5, all right? To put it in perspective, that volume came out in 2002. We're 24 years removed from that, and she hasn't, that's it. She has one moment against Ginjo back in the Fullbringer arc, but that wasn't really anything special. But again, Orihime has no major impressive feats to go with, and that's why a lot of people were slandering her, because she's a main character. Now, she's not the main female character, that's Rukia, but no, she does not have anything to go by. But in this episode, my God, do they rectify that. And Orihime sees just Ichigo getting absolutely brutalized. I'm looking at an image right here. She sees him getting absolutely pummeled. And, he's just getting absolutely wrecked. And he's getting blasted up. And then Orihime is just using I reject. And, you know, she just, one of the things that she constantly sees is that she wishes that she was stronger. She wishes that if her power wasn't so weak, that she could be more useful to Ichigo, to Rukia, to everybody that she loves, that nobody would have to suffer if her powers were more useful. All right, and she's literally, again, she is, but in this episode, I want to bring this up. In this first exchange with Ichigo, he's getting overpowered by Yuha, and Yuha just stabs him through. She heals him. Yuha blasts a bigger hole in him. He tanks it. Ichigo doesn't take it, but he's Orihime heals him. And then eventually, Yuha's like, you know what? Screw this. Okay, you know what? I'm done with this shit. I'm just going to kill you. Orihime, bring it on. 1v1 me. Run the fade. Run the honest fade with me, Orihime. And I want people to go back and watch that episode. I'm going to put an image on the screen with Orihime, but the noise she makes when she's getting up, because she is taking that beating down, repeatedly getting blasted through, just taking it. And the noises, the growling, because she's waterlogged, obviously. There's blood in her lungs. She can barely speak, and she's just willing herself. You can hear the pain in her voice, just trying to get back up. And Ichigo's like, just stop it, please. You've done enough. And she's just like, nope, gotta get in, gotta protect Ichigo. I cannot let, she hates being a burden. That's one of the themes in her character arc early in the story. She hates being a burden more than anything else. And she is just taking this beating. And it's just, that sets up the theme of this episode. Orihime taking a brutal beating to protect the people that she loves. Then we have Rukia coming in at the clutch, and she freezes everything, all right? Rukia has like this awesome moment where she says, hey, good on you, girl. You managed to just take the fight, keep fighting until I got here. You're goated, Orihime. Orihime. Keep saying that name, all right, because it is not going anywhere anytime soon. All right, then, you know, Rukia basically freezes the floor to help Ichigo escape. And then, you know, we've got a nice little back and forth with Rukia telling Ichigo, he's like, man, you look really weird with that horn. You look like you're wrapped in a black blanket. And Ichigo's like, first of all, I look cool as hell. Second of all, I had that fight completely under control. I didn't need you at all, girl. I was ready to launch my counterattack. And Rukia's like, Cap, you needed me. Stop. And they go back and forth. And first off, I love how the comedic moments in this episode do nothing to take away from the seriousness of this fight. It doesn't undercut it all. Like in shonen, sometimes comedy can undercut the seriousness in a bad way. But in this episode, even the lighthearted moments like that still catch it just perfectly. And something else I want to bring up. All right, Rukia and Ichigo team up to fight Yuha. They have never fought together in the entire series. I'm not making this up. Like, this is not... They have never fought together. Like, the story starts with those two. Rukia gives Ichigo his soul reader powers. Her soul reader powers, anyway. She's powerless. Then Soul Society. Ichigo's trying to rescue her. Then we have the Arrancar arc. Then there's this thing with one of the Arrancar. He was Grimmjow's faction. Doria, whatever his name was, the D. He had this burr. Half his skull was chipped off or whatever. That happens. They don't really fight. Then Ichigo's fighting Grimmjow again. Rukia freezes him. She tries to help him. Then Grimmjow goes to kill Rukia. Shinji shows up. Then, you know, Hueco Mundo arc. The group splits off out in different directions. Then we have the Fullbringer arc. And then we are here in the Thousand Year Blood War. And again, they've never fought together. This is the first time. Ichigo has fought alongside Uryu. He's fought alongside Chad. He's fought alongside Renji that one time against Aizen, but they got packed up pretty badly. And he's fought alongside Orihime in this arc. He's never fought alongside Rukia like this. This is the first time. And I have to say, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Kubo. Thank you, Studio Periot. You guys absolutely just brought this amazing series to life. And you gave us something new. Again, this captured that feeling you had when you were watching a Bleach episode for the first time, that you didn't know what was going to happen the next time, or a manga chapter that you read and you were so stoked for it. Because we don't know what happens. This is all brand new. And it just sets the tone for the rest of this episode. We then shift away to, again, Uryu and Hashfault. Again, Uryu is basically trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? What can I do? Uryu is firing the bow techniques. His, what is it called? The Hailing Pel, his holy bow. It's doing nothing. Uryu basically is counting the intervals from when Hashfault sees in the future. All right? And he just basically tries to come up and hit Hashfault down. And then he eventually comes to his Sealy Schneider. All right, this is the short sword he used during the Hueco Mundo arc against Xayalapro, so there's your callback there. And Hashfault is like, this isn't doing anything to me. He then blocks it, but then Uryu basically says, no, you didn't see this coming. And then he shoots the blade at him, and then it does some damage there. But again, Uryu is basically figuring out, okay, there's a cooldown. Now I need to set things up. Because Uryu in this whole fight, he's basically playing chess with Hashfold. And he's like, okay, there has to be a weakness. There has to be a chink in this armor. And he's basically figuring out ways he can exploit that. Because at the end of this fight, we see Uryu basically put him in checkmate. End of fight. Then we go to Ichigo and Rukia versus Yuha. Holy hell, man, was this... I can't even describe the words like I'm feeling just for this episode. Because it gave me so much just joy, jubilation. Just sitting back and just I'm like, what? Like I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time. And we see this fight. So Ichigo and Rukia versus Yuha. So Ichigo says, okay, I'm just going to keep firing Grand Ray Seros at you with Getsuga and just see what happens. Rukia, she's using her Sodena Shirayuki. Now, here's the problem with this. When Rukia Zanpakuto Sodena Shirayuki is not very effective in team battles. It's just not. It's basically an ice nuke. And she has to be very careful, otherwise she'll hurt her allies too. Not to mention the fact that when she does use, her Bankai, that she will use in this episode, I cannot stress this enough. She's basically vulnerable to attack. So it's basically a one-hit instant death. If she doesn't kill you, you're cooked. And Yuha is basically just tanking it. He's just tanking it. And again, I'm just going to keep reiterating it. He is just tanking it. Like, he has zero qualms about just this. I'm pulling up my notes right here. He is just taking it. And we see them just try to work out a way to fight alongside each other. And Yuha's like, okay, screw this. He then fires off these Quincy death beams. What is he? Wait, what? Quincy death beams. Okay, yeah, that's... I'm going to need a drink for this. Just drink water here because... Holy crap. He just keeps firing off Quincy death beams. Like, when could he do this? Like, this is Dragon Ball Z. This episode gave me Dragon Ball Z flashback, right? And then we just keep seeing the fights. And Yuha basically is just like, okay, you know what? I'm screwing this shit, all right? I've had enough of your crap. And then, Ichigo and Rukia try this combo attack where they both tries to freeze Yuha and take him out at the same time. It does nothing. Yuha at this point is he's unkillable. Spoilers, but Yuha can't be killed by conventional means, at least in the manga anyway. And he just completely overwhelms it. And then, they're just absolutely getting wrecked. And then it's just like, yeah, no, we need to just stop this. And so Ichigo's like, okay, you know what? Screw this. Ichigo's like, you know what? I've had enough of this. Ichigo says, okay, I am going Bankai. And I want people to understand this. I want people to understand this. Ichigo's Bankai reveal for his new Tenta Zangetsu in the manga, I'm going to put an image up on the screen. It just didn't do it for me. It just basically took his black, short, skinny blade, put it into the longer sheath we find out of his true Shikai. And that's it. This form is called Bloodchain Ichigo. And the title card for it is all blurred out. But this form, it goes so hard. Again, it just goes so hard. We see Ichigo emerge. And when he's going in Bankai, when he says his Bankai's name, his true Tenta Zangetsu, the sky immediately turns with a blood red moon, and it looks like the moon is being eclipsed. And then you can see in Yuha's eye the moon. And then Ichigo shouts Bankai. And then you see a shot of him in flames. Like he's a house. Like Ichigo, Asta, and Shinra are probably the only shonen MCs that I know that can pull off looking evil, because Ichigo straight up looks like a devil edgelord. Like, you thought, I'll put it up right here, his final Getsuga was his edgelord. Nah, this is his most edgiest form. And he appears out of it, right? And then there's chains wrapped around his wrists, ankle, and neck. Like he's a hellspawn, all right? And something else to consider. He's got the two horns, just like his inner hollow white. And yeah, this is Bloodchain Ichigo. Now, I want people to understand. This Ichigo will be using techniques that he's never used before. Never. He basically walks at Yuha, and then his footsteps is this kind of black, shadowy Ryatsu of his. And then he basically moves so fast, he's either creating shadowy after images, or he's just straight up using shadow clones. And I just cannot believe this. Ichigo is just basically, he speed blitzes Yuha. He speed blitzes him. Then he basically essentially says, okay, he then creates, when he basically tries to hit him with a Getsuga Tensho, not Getsuga, but he basically tries attacking him, and then Yuha just blocks it. He keeps firing off that Quincy Death Beam, just keep firing that off. Just, again, he'll keep firing it off. And then, Ichigo also blocks attacks that were meant for Rukia and Orihime. He creates this kind of chain barrier where he basically just tanks it, and it does no damage whatsoever. Then we see Ichigo just like say, okay, screw this. He then decides to go use his true Bankai Getsuga Tensho. Now, I thought he was going to use a new technique. I thought he was going to display a new move that he had never used before, that he was never going to show again. But no, he just uses it. And I want people to understand the visuals for this episode were just 11 out of 10. They just knocked it out of the park. And then he just completely, like, again, you see him create this crescent moon, and you just see everybody in the battlefield's reaction. You see Byakuya, Toshiro. At this point, Shunsui's out, so you see Nanao with him, and you see it just like completely eclipse the battlefield. And it just seems like it's over, right? But remember, Yuha has the powers of the Almighty. Well, he does, technically. Not in this fight, not yet. But then he has the powers of the Soul King. So you see him chopped up into little tiny pieces, and he's like, Ichigo, you think this is over? Nah, it's not over yet. And then he gets back, Yuha immediately responds, and then Rukia is like, oh shit, I gotta go in and help him. Rukia basically is like, okay, we gotta kill him now. We gotta just, caution to the wind. Rukia's like, Ichigo tells Rukia, hey, listen, we gotta take him out. Just don't worry about me. Just go Bankai, fire your ice nuke at him. We'll worry about the consequences later. And then just Rukia's like, okay, she uses Haku no Tagami, and then she uses her Bankai, and this basically freezes Yuha for Ichigo to come in and then just charge it with Getsuga. And when that happened, and I was watching, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. This is way too easy. There's no way this is going to work. There's no way this is going to work. There's no way in hell this is going to work. There's no way they're going to be able to take him out here. And I was like, nope, not going to work. Not going to work. And you see them all working together, and that's very sweet and everything. But it just, you could just knew the desperation in their eyes. And then one of the things that this episode does is Orihime's reactions are just beautiful, because throughout this whole fight, she's just lamenting the fact that she is powerless. She cannot do anything. She only if her power was stronger, her friends and everybody else that she loves wouldn't have to suffer. This wouldn't have to happen if she was stronger. And we see them basically come in, and Yuha just basically overwhelms Ichigo and Rukia. And the next thing you see after Ichigo and Rukia's combo attack is Rukia basically just in her Bankai form with the broadsword just jammed right through her chest. Like, she just gets absolutely wrecked. All right. And then, basically Ichigo's immobilized. Yuha basically has him on the ground. And it's just, for Orihime, this is like her worst nightmare. She's seeing that the guy that she loves get killed. One of her best friends get absolutely just destroyed. And she decides, okay, I have to do this. 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 She locks in. She's like, let me get this done. Let me get this done. All right. And as Orihime is doing this, all right, she's kind of just lamenting the fact that if she was just stronger, nobody would have to suffer. There would be a world full of pain, of suffering, all right? You could just see herself telling everybody, is like, hey, this is it. This is exactly what I was fighting for. This is the world that I want. This is where my friends don't have to suffer, all right? And then you just see that happening. And she's getting up. And then as she's getting up, all right, she shouts all the name of her Shunshinrika, her 6 fairies. Tsubaki, Ayame, Hinagakyu, Baigon, and Lily, all right? Her hairpin breaks, by the way. I should mention this. Her hairpin breaks. Like, her hairpin legitimately gets shattered, and it just gets broken right here. And she's just like, oh, no, this is bad. This is bad. Her hairpin gets broken, and she's just like, if only there was a way, all right? Okay, then we cut away to Hashfault and Uryu. Now, Uryu has basically come to the conclusion. He's just like, okay, I cannot kill this guy, so I need something to do. And Hashfault Uryu is like, okay, what can I do to take this guy out? What can I do to take this guy? Now, Uryu takes out his grandfather's glove. I'm going to try to say the name right here. It is, hold on, his grandfather's glove. It leads to, let's see, his Sanrei glove. His Sanrei glove, all right? Now, Uryu basically realizes there is a cooldown of 3 seconds when Hashfault cannot see the future. So Hashfault, by the way, I should mention this with Hashfault. I want to say this. I need to say this just for the sake of the argument, just for the sake of what I'm saying, Hashfault is amazing in this episode too, because Hashfault plays the villain to a T. He's in his bag. He's just bracing the fact that he is the Grandmaster of the Stern Raiders, and he's just embracing his evil side. And Hashfault is just, he just plays it up. He tells Uryu, I've seen your future. You're nothing. You're absolutely nothing before me. All right, and then Uryu figures out the 3-second cooldown. He then puts on his glove. Hashfault thinks, okay, this is what he's gonna do. This is how he's gonna take me out. This is how he's gonna beat me. He's gonna try to use his Sunray glove and his Let Steal thing. There's no way this is gonna work. And then we go back to Orihime, and then she wishes if she was strong enough that she could basically contain. This is what she says. She wishes that she was strong so she could create a world where envelop the entire world, where basically nobody would have to fight, suffer, or be in pain and die. Like, she doesn't want this. And here's the thing, when Orihime basically says this, she's already said her 6 fairies, all right, and then, they eventually create this sort of like energy shield, this kind of energy shield. Like, again, I'm looking at my screen with the notes right here because you kind of see everything. You see everything, and then they create the energy shield for her, and then she just walks right through it. Then Orihime basically Yuha basically kicks Ichigo and says, okay, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Then we immediately segue over to Orihime basically going through the portal, and then her 6 fairies crown her head, and then she just slams into Yuha, just like boom. Then we cut to Hashfault and Uryu, big brain that he is, decides to nerf Hashfault, and he basically uses his shrift to swap positions of the glove on his hand with Hashfault's hands, and then Hashfault was like, wait, fuck, what are you doing? And Uryu was like, I know your weakness, bitch. He breaks it off, and he takes away the powers of the Almighty, essentially, from Hashfault. Now, this is the thing. Those powers return to Yuha, and you see this because Hashfault's eyes turn normal. They turn to his normal irises, but then all the irises go back to Yuha as Orihime slamming into him, and I'm going to explain why this is. Then we see Ichigo and Orihime's reaction. Ichigo is just stunned, like, wait, hold on, what is she doing? And then Rukia is like, no, Orihime, please don't do this. Don't do this. And Ichigo is just like, the look on his face as he realizes what Orihime is about to do. And then Orihime, as she's just rejecting everything, all right? She then just says, she just tells Ichigo, don't worry about it, Kurosaki, I'll take everything onto myself. I got this. Now, I thought when she first mouthed the words to him, I thought they were, I love you, but that's not what she said. Then Orihime's just massive attack, and then it just goes, this huge light, and then you just see the black and white still shots of Yuha and her, and then you see dust of what's left of Orihime and Yuha, and then you just see, the Rukia and Ichigo just in the floor room, just completely stunned. Like, the pain in their faces, they just realized one of their dearest friends just off themselves to save the day, and they just horrifies it. And then so then that's the end of the episode. And when this is happening, I should mention this: the ending theme of the season, the core, starts playing. I didn't know this in the beginning, but as it went on, it became clear. I was like, they're playing the ending. Then we segue, and then you just see it. So then we kind of see 2 spider lilies. Spider lilies symbolize death, and then we see the title card drop when Spider Lily falls off, and then it means life to defend you, because the episode in the beginning was defend you, but now it's life to defend you. We didn't even get a haiku, a kind of poem at the end of every episode. We just saw this, and it just like we just see that, and then we see the credits roll, and then defend you, life to defend you, and it just comes down to Orihime's desire to protect the people that she loves and everything in them. Okay, so now that I've talked for about 30 minutes on everything in this episode, I kind of want to give my thoughts about what I think is going to happen. So first off, when Uryu uses his glove to break Hashfault from Yuha's powers, and you see the irises return to Yuha, that is basically Yuha gaining the powers of the Almighty. And so what we saw in the end of the episode was a potential future where Yuha did die, but because of the powers of the Almighty, he basically rewrites that and says, nope, we're not doing that anymore. And there's that. That's how they come back. All right, so that's one way. So first off, I should mention this in the beginning. Orihime is not dead. Like, let's just get this out of the way. She's not dead, because if that you read the manga, Orihime and Ichigo get married and have a kid. So that just doesn't hold up. Like there's no, if this happened 10 years ago when the manga happened, which I think this episode aired when the 10th anniversary of Bleach is ending, which big brain move by Kubo, because my God, did this episode just like hit all the strings. It immediately just reminded me of that feeling of what it meant to be a Bleach fan again. Then we kind of segue, so let's kind of segue into the future, what's going to happen. So I mentioned the Yuha using his powers of the Almighty to kind of change the future and see what's going to happen from here. What will happen from there? Then we continue on from there where we basically see, okay, where he comes back and then Orihime is still alive, or this never happened at all to begin with. And then we go from there, how that happens. Because again, this is all new. This is all new. I have no idea. I read the manga. I promise you, I do not know a damn thing. Because in this fight in the anime manga, Ichigo just shows his true Bankai. Yuha breaks it. And then, he takes the Quincy powers from Ichigo, weakens him. And then he goes back to Soul Society to destroy the world. Then Aizen's waiting for him. Then in comes Tsukishima, who restores his book of the End powers, his Bankai. Ichigo, Renji go to the Soul Society to battle against Yuha. With Aizen there, they do their thing. The silver arrowhead from Uryu shows up. They nerf him, and Ichigo cuts Yuha down. End of story. That's how that was supposed to go down. Like, that's how it was supposed to go down. But no. This is all new. Like, I don't know how this ends. I just don't know how this ends. I just don't. I'm trying to be completely level with you, fam. I just don't know how this episode ends. Like, I just don't. How this core will end. Because we're off to a brand new, like, just completely new storyline. So, yeah. And, well, this is kind of also bittersweet. Because here's the thing. This should have happened in the manga. Like, we could have had this. If this happened in the manga, I guarantee you people wouldn't have been hating on Bleach's ending. Like, I was very disappointed. It felt very rushed. It should have been like, Kubo decided, okay, I had this many chapters to finish it. I'm going to finish it. And it is what it is. I love Bleach. I really do. But the manga ending just felt very lackluster. And I just didn't, it felt like they decided, okay, we got to end it here. But here what they've done is they've given us so much more that I cannot say I'm so happy to see. I saw a comment, someone say, man, I am so happy that I'm still alive, and RIP to all the Bleach fans who couldn't see this, because my God, this is amazing. And I'm like, yeah, really is. It really is. I got misty-eyed. I didn't full ugly cry, but I got misty-eyed when I watched it. I was like, man, this is so good. It wasn't, I knew Orihime wasn't dead, but the emotion, the tears of joy and, jubilation that I felt, that was there. That was there when I watched this episode, and it just captured that feeling. It just captured that. And again, when you're watching an anime or manga or reading a manga for the first time, you should be feeling excited. You should be at the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen. Because, or they should be able to make you feel invested again if you have read the manga, so that way you can enjoy it all over again. Because the anime's job is to make the manga better. Like, that's how it's supposed to work out anyway. But it doesn't know, especially back in the day in the 2000s, like it wasn't until the 2010s when anime became seasonal in the last decade or so that the anime has like completely upscaled the manga's work. And that's okay. I've got zero problem with that. So now where I think we're going to go from here. So I mentioned the Yuha, Tsukushima's powers coming in. Now here's the sad part. Another sad part I want to mention. It's probably going to be all downhill from here. I just don't. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about everything I just said about it's all downhill from here. I would love to be wrong, but I just don't see a way they can get better than anything we just saw, because that episode, that whole core and everything we just saw, that whole episode is the best Bleach episode of the 1,000-Year Blood War Arc. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it's the best 1,000-Year Blood War Arc episode. And something else to consider that I also want to bring up, okay, is if they're doing this now with Orihime, are we going to get more stuff with other characters? Because the fight between Gerard, Uryu, Toshiro, Byakuya, and Kenpachi, that's all going to be different. So are they going to do that fight differently? I hope so. And if they're doing that, I've seen some people say, hey, since we're already off the beaten path, as it were, can we get Aizen's Bankai? Can we get Sosuke Aizen's Bankai? I mean, if Aizen's Bankai gets revealed in this core, I guarantee you the internet is going to destroy itself. Like, it will crash. Like, the community will just be like, wait, what? We're getting that? But yeah, that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. I appreciate it. All right, I had to make a video talking about this. All right, this Bleach episode captured everything of what it meant to be a Bleach fan, the emotions, the joys, just everything. And I watched the episode twice now. Once, and then another time when I was doing a reaction video that I have to film. I'm having a copyright issue, so I got to deal with that. Another time when right now when I made this video, I watched the whole thing. Took some still images of each, all the major scenes in the episode that I had to talk about, all right? But my God, and also I want to bring this up, okay, before I end the video, all right? One of the things I think Kubo's doing with Ichigo's new Bankai, his Bloodborne Ichigo, his Blood Chain Ichigo, whatever the hell that is, what's the name of this form? I forget. Again, I'm slipping, man. I must be tripping. This is, again, this is his Blood Chain Ichigo. His Blood Chain Ichigo form. I think he's setting up stuff for the Hell Arc because allegedly the manga's coming back once Sakamoto Days ends and Bleach is going to take its slot. I believe in sometime in the fall, like October or maybe September. I forget when. But Kubo's clearly, in my opinion, using this as a setup device. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. If you're a fan of the video, please, for me, I'd really appreciate it if you'd smash that like, comment, and subscribe button right there. Also, hit that notification bell. That's how you get notified about new videos. As always, if you're a fan of the video, please drop a like down below. And let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of Orihime, this whole episode, everything. Where do you think this is going to go down? Where do you think we're going to go? If you've read, again, anime watchers, manga readers like me, we have no idea what's coming. We're just we're in the dark as much as you are. So whatever happens now is educational for all of us. We're all in for a good time, all right? But until next time, I'm your boy Malik. Deuces, fam.